Ms. Shikha, please start.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all the esteemed global members present over here today on this beautiful and rocking episode number 18 of Thunderbolts. Today's topic is love pain, and which is basically based on toxic relationships. And we are going to deal with it. My name is Shikha Chakravarti, and I will be the moderator for today's show. I am an image consultant, soft skills trainer, and public speaking coach. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of Positive Thoughts family, and I'm sure we are going to have a great, insightful session today on toxic relationships and the topics which usually everyone is facing in this world, but very rare people have the courage to speak about it. Before I start with the topic, I would like to, for the people who are new to this session, I would like to give you a little insights about the positive thoughts family and what is it all about. Positive Thoughts Family is a ProCert UK ISO certified GST registered firm under the Ministry of MSME, Government of India, along with many international collaborations. It is a global community of speakers and trainers, coaches, educationists, healers, authors, social activities from across India and from more than 45 countries on a mission to learn, connect, share, and bridge the gap between brands, organizations, nations, and will work with the mission of empowerment for stress-free education and life. This elite executive community is for all the like-minded positive people from all across the globe who wants to share, inspire, help each other to grow their successes together by empowering one another. Now, let me introduce the man behind the entire positive thoughts idea is Mr. Gaurav Sharma. A huge round of applause for Mr. Gaurav Sharma, who has designed such a wonderful idea. Mr. Dr. Gaurav Sharma is a well-known and respected multi-award winning motivational speaker, life coach, and social activist, founder and CEO of Positive Thoughts Consulting and Training Solutions, co-founder of 28 Credentials of Entrepreneurs Malaysia. Would you like to say something, Mr. Gaurav?
Yeah, hi, आप सभी को मेरा हाथ जोड़ के नमस्कार and a very beautiful, happy, enthusiastic, smiling evening, morning, afternoon to all. Adab, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum to all the beautiful and divine souls from all the four corners of the world. I just want to express my deepest gratitude to one of my great friend Monica Dhawan, who have accepted our invitation for today's very insightful and interesting topic. Is love pain? Yes, it is. Right. And thank you so much, Shikha ji, for such a wonderful start. All the best, team. Let's talk together.
So to take it forward, I would like to talk that why do we actually go for a relationship? Basically, it is just because we look forward for the support. We look forward that in our daily life, when we face some success or some failures, we need somebody really to share it with, to whom we can trust completely. All right. And then in that search of getting a relationship and feeling happy about it, usually the things start great, but it doesn't go as it is due to the situations. Why? Because people think with every phase of our life we keep changing ourselves, and somewhere down the line two people are not ready to accept the changes within us, and the same things which used to make us happy now start giving us the pain. And somewhere down the line we realize that, oh, something which we bought for happiness is now actually not we are not able to tolerate, and somewhere down the line the same thing is bringing us more pain than happiness. When there is a lack of communication, dishonesty and jealousy, feeling of jealousy, and when we don't want the other person's, when we don't want to understand the perspective of the other person and really feel, and that part of empathy is missing, then that kind of toxicity starts appearing in the relationship. And then one fine day, both the people realize that this is, no, we cannot take it anymore. But still, they choose to continue to stay in that throughout their life because of that so-called societal pressure. Now, what will the society say? 57% people, as per the research, are living in the 57% people accept that they are living in a fearful and uncomfortable relationship in their current relation, whereas 87% people accept that they have been dealing with fearful and uncomfortable relationships during their past. So Miss Monica Dhawan is one of the greatest speaker in this case, and I think she is going to give a great insight about all this and how this societal taboo is there in this society, how people are dealing with it, how much is too much to tolerate. Is it necessary to tolerate, or it is ready? We can accept it. So let me introduce First of all, a huge round of applause for Miss Monica. We welcome you from the Positive Thoughts family. And Miss Monica Dhawan, let me introduce her a little bit. Miss Monica Dhawan is working as a transformation coach who talks about change at individual level as well as social level. At individual level, she coaches women to become self-empowered and gain courage to say no to toxic relationships. At social level, she has a YouTube channel called Monica Talks that sensitizes people to change their mindset about women, mental health, and much more through her poetry and storytelling. She uses various tools to transform women, and one of the strongest tools that she uses is graphology. And that is based on handwriting and signature analysis that brings radical change in people at their subconscious level. Her key strength areas are motivational speaking, transformation coaching, and graphology. With this, I would like to welcome Miss Monica, and we are so glad and excited to listen your insights about the topic.
Thank you very much, Shikha. I think it was a wonderful beginning. And before I begin, I would like to thank Gaurav for his persistence and patience with me to bring on this particular topic in here with Positive Thoughts team. I think it's a wonderful space to be in. And I strongly believe that Positive Thoughts team and organization is one of the organizations that actually justifies its name so much. Because all over wherever I see, it's all positivity. So Shikha has, I think, introduced a lot about me. I'll, start with a poetry on love, which is love pain. All right. Now, thank you, all of you who are here. I think, okay. So now, is there anybody who would like to accept the challenge? Because I'm going to speak this poetry in Hindi. Would you like anyone to translate it into English? Anybody who would like to do that? Or perhaps in the end, a few lines, in the English. Anybody who would like to take the challenge? Supriya, Shikha, and Gaurav.
Well, we can try. Not an issue.
We can try. Okay, perfect. So, all right, Irina, and all the people who are from the West and who are not from India, I'll try my level best to communicate this poetry in English as well. I think Supriya will help you. Okay. प्यार में दर्द छुपा है या दर्द में प्यार, ये तो सिर्फ उन्हें ही पता है जो है इसके शिकार.
Is the pain hidden in love, or love is hidden in the pain? The person who is the victim of this, only he or she can realize. I hope I translated.
Oh, wow. All right. प्यार में दर्द छुपा है या दर्द में प्यार, ये तो सिर्फ उन्हें ही पता है जो है इसके शिकार. इतनी कोशिशों के बाद भी एक दूसरे से अलग नहीं हो पाते. इसी बेरहमी से लड़ते झगड़ते यूं ही उनके दिन कट जाते.
इतनी बेरहमी से, प्लीज कैन यू रिपीट?
इतनी बेरहमी से लड़ते झगड़ते यूं ही उनके दिन कट जाते.
Just like this, their days will pass fighting and loving each other.
एक पल में ही कसम खाते कि एक दूसरे की शक्ल भी नहीं देखेंगे और दूसरे ही पल मर मिटने पर उतर आते.
In one moment, they will swear themselves that they don't want to see their faces, but next moment, they are ready to die for themselves.
Rose, you're doing a great job. Okay, block and block, block and block, block and block की गेम चलती रहती, जिसके चलते इनकी दिल की धड़कनें तेज होती रहती.
Heartbeats will keep on rising by keeping them block and block, block and block, block and block. And this phase will go on.
अगर इनकी दिल की धड़कनें नापी जाएं, तो रिवर राफ्टिंग की स्केरी वेव्स भी फीकी पड़ जाएं.
If we will measure the heartbeats of these two lovers, even the river rafting speed is low in front of these heartbeats.
मैं तो कहती हूँ ये सारा कसूर हिंदी सिनेमा का है, जिसने चंद पैसों के लिए प्यार में दर्द और दर्द में प्यार बेचा है.
I will only say only one thing. It is all the culprit of Bollywood cinema movies who has sold and who has seen the love and pain and love, and they have sold it. All right?
Perfect. इसकी बदौलत कुछ लोग मानने लगे कि true love is pain. By the way, Supriya, you're doing a great job. इसकी बदौलत कुछ लोग मानने लगे कि true love is pain, तो कुछ love is a triangle.
And on the basis of these things, even all the people are believing that true love is pain and love isn't pain. What do you said? Can you repeat it?
Right.
And love is a triangle. Yeah.
Love is a triangle. And hence, it is associated with only a negative angle. करण जौहर का एक तरफा प्यार भाई साहब उसके लिए करता है बहुत भारी व्यापार.
Karan Johar, one-sided love, and he is doing a great business.
Karan Johar is, by the way, is the well-established director of our Hindi film industry who makes movies on love is pain and pain is love. So he's earning a lot of money out of it. That's why he's doing it. So Karan Johar का एक तरफा प्यार भाई साहब उसके लिए करता है बहुत भारी व्यापार. तो सोशल मीडिया पर अपने एक्स लवर्स को यू करना ट्रोल बार-बार नहीं सिखाता हमें प्यार.
And the meaning of love is not trolling your ex on the social media.
क्योंकि दिल टूटने पर तो बहुत आसान है किसी को करना यूं बदनाम.
Because breaking one heart and feeling that pain is not at all good to make your love insane on the social media.
पर अगर कुछ मुश्किल है करना तो वो है कपिल शर्मा की तरह दीपिका पादुकोण की शादी के बाद मूव ऑन.
If anything is difficult, then it is very difficult to keep Kapil Sharma show and discuss about the after marriage scenario of Deepika Padukone.
All right, so the last one, you can say it summarized in the last couple of lines. हीर रांझा लैला मजनू रोमियो जूलियट से हुई प्यार की पहचान, जिसने भी सुनाई प्यार में सिर्फ दर्द की दास्तान. अरे भाई इस लव इज पेन की सोच से बाहर निकलोगे तभी तो एक हेल्दी जनरेशन क्रिएट कर पाओगे.
Even Heer Ranjha, Romeo Juliet, the great lovers, they have shown the pain and love. But guys, please come out of this game of pain of love, and then you can see the healthy relationship.
Being a transformation coach, let me help you transform your beliefs about love so that you can recreate history and set another record. Thank you so much. It was wonderfully done.
I hope I have given the justice to this question.
No, I think you've done a wonderful job, and I hope that everyone could understand that. So,
all
right.
Thank you very much. If you allow me to say something, just 1 minute.
Not right now. Thank you so much for your kind patience. Please, we will give you a chance at the end of the session. Please, everyone, I request you all, please keep your mind on the mute mode. Thank you so much.
All right, people. So straight in, quickly, I'll take you to the presentation on toxic relationships, where I'm going to talk about how people get into that space, the relationship becomes toxic. And as Shikha mentioned in the beginning, the happiness, the everlasting love that they expected becomes the pain in their dash. Okay. So there we go. All right, guys.
Miss Monica, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to begin with a presentation of toxic relationship. Actually, what it is, Gunjal, when we buy a wind chime and it just get clustered sometimes, it doesn't want to, leave each other and still feel suffocated. It's like a gunjal between two individuals who are in love, who want to go away from each, who want to stay together, but also there is so much of pain that they want to go away from each other. Now, why does that happen? A relationship, what is a toxic relationship? A relationship which is basically that logically is not healthy for you, but emotionally you crave for it. The psychology of pain and pleasure. Your heart says, all right, a little bit more. Maybe he'll get better with time. Maybe I give him, another opportunity. But your mind says that, no, 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 it's not going to work out. You're going to fall yourself into the trap. So there is a fight between the pain and pleasure and their logical side and their emotional side, which kind of push and pull goes on. And that's when exactly they feel trapped. Now, if I give you a classic example of toxic couple, let me begin with a woman, all right? A lady. So that's the couple if I talk about. This is a girl who has a fear of abandonment. Now, is there anybody who can tell me what is abandonment? Anybody who would like to share a few words on abandonment? What is exactly fear of abandonment?
It is emotional withholding.
It is
Emotional withholding.
Okay, so it won't be emotional withholding. It is actually fear of being left.
Yes.
There are certain people who get in relationship and they feel, oh my God, is he going to leave me? He's not responding to my message. I have messaged him since morning. Why hasn't responded? It's been evening. So they get so anxious in the process that they completely attack the other person. You see the girl attacking the guy? On the other hand, let me introduce you to the guy who actually has fear of suffocation. He hates when someone over bombards him with love. So there is an opposite fear between two individuals. And I'm going to give an example of this toxic couple. Now, let me introduce you the girl who is literally Miss Nobody. Now, she is literally over emotional, who can cry at the drop of a hat, fluctuating mood with no regulator. Sometimes when we don't have regulator working, so either she's extremely happy or she's extremely upset. And let me tell you, she can experience these emotions in just the snap of a finger. Quick to apologize even for being in washroom. So if you're around this girl and if you have called her up and she's in washroom, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I was in washroom. You don't have to be sorry to be in washroom. If she comes late for a meeting, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. So she will, apologize at least 10 times before the meeting is started. And you will just quickly sense, her energy getting anxious and fear of making a mistake. Very reactive and impulsive. By the way, she'll not mind resigning and then thinking, oh, I think I should have spoken to my boss without resigning, before resigning. Blame themselves. You can actually blame themselves, blame them for everything, even for tsunami. Actually, if you tell her that tsunami has come, and she'll say, oh, wait, maybe. No, how can I? Fine, it's an over exaggeration, but you get my point, right? You can actually blame her for everything and she'll take it. That's one of the personalities I'm talking about, who is quick and more vulnerable to enter into a toxic relationship. Let me introduce you the man of the house, the charming, the handsome, who is literally believes, and his mantra is forget the rest because I am the best. Life of everybody, very charming and handsome. There is only one problem. There is no word exists as sorry in his dictionary. Ouch. Pretty control freak and manipulative by nature, and extremely insensitive with no empathy whatsoever. Now, let me take this further. When these two absolute mirror image of each other, like quite opposite personalities, fall in love, what happens? How does this dynamic begin? When they come together, it's like they have found soulmate in each other, because the girl feels he's so confident, he's so high, he feels so good about himself. On the other hand, he feels I don't have to apologize because she does all the dirty work. So there is a quick magnetic attraction between them. But as the relationship progresses, their fear steps in. So what was the fear this girl was facing and what was the fear that guy was facing? Can anyone tell me? what was the fear this girl was facing? In the beginning, I mentioned.
Yeah, that he might leave her,
Yeah.
sorry, and she'll be alone.
Okay, that's perfect. What is this fear called?
Fear of abandonment.
Perfect. And what is the fear that this guy has?
He was getting suffocated.
Yeah, but generally you will see men have those fears of running away from emotions, but this guy has extreme fear. Okay, so but as the relationship progresses, how it becomes toxic and how the communication becomes toxic when she feels that he's going away. You never talk to me, you never give me time, you're always busy with your work, I'm not important for you. So all of that becomes toxic when earlier it was very loving and very expressing and all of that. And she feels that the fear that, oh my god, is he going to leave me, he's not talking to me. And then the fear stems in. A lot of times when they have toxic communication, it's like you don't know how to make your emotional needs met. And when that fear steps in, unfortunately what we do is we absolutely do opposite of what we should be doing. Rather talking to the person that he hears me more, we say something which completely repels him more. Now he's feeling extremely upset about what she did, and he starts giving her a silent treatment. By the way, do you know, in toxic relationships, this is one of the main, I would say, a weapon one of the individuals who is more manipulative uses, which is giving silent treatment. And silence is more dangerous than violence, because at least when you're upset, you're angry, you're taking everything out. But in this scenario, the guy doesn't do that because he feels that the only way to control her is just stay silent. And when he's so frustrated with all of that, he starts going out of the relationship, which she figures out, and that upsets her completely. In the toxic relationship, a lot of times when people are not able to feel, when they're not feeling happy, when they're not feeling their needs are met, they don't mind going out with no empathy or guilt whatsoever towards their partner. Now, here I'm going to talk about that when she confronts the guy that, you are with so many women out there and I'm not the only one in your life, that's when he steps in and starts, bringing the friends around and says that, what, you're oversensitive. This is nothing like that happening. You're thinking too much. She's just a friend, man. That's a lot of times in toxic relationship happens, right? And then she was like, no, you're befooling me. It's not working that way. So have you heard of the concept called gaslighting abuse? This is actually gaslighting abuse when we bring 10 people together to say that, what you're thinking is not right. Do you have any thoughts, any movies which you have seen? I'll give you classic examples of 2 movies in the upcoming presentations. Do you have any movies in mind which literally suggests that's an example of gaslighting abuse? Any movies that comes to your mind?
Yeah, that's Student of the Year too.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Really? So who does that? Who does that in that movie? I haven't seen that movie.
Chunky Pandey's daughter, Ananya Pandey.
Okay. Okay. I haven't seen that. I should see that. So I'll give you the examples in the coming
It's a triangular love story.
Triangular love story. Okay. Gaslighting abuse is exactly what is it, I'll be telling you in the while. But right now, she's feeling absolutely crazy that everybody is telling me what this guy is saying, but I know I'm right, but I also know that he's manipulating me and nobody is believing her because he has created a space which is very positive for him and not so positive for her. And that is when, she confronts him. And like I said, there is no word called sorry in his dictionary. So he doesn't apologize or take responsibility for anything. And that's when she says, why don't you ever apologize? This is one of those prime statements you'll see in toxic relationships where men don't take responsibility. And that's where it goes, which basically leads to the emotional breakdown of the girl. And that's where she thinks that enough is enough. And I don't think, I've been played right now in this situation. And what I felt it was love and happiness does not exist that way any longer. And I think I should, do something about it. And that's where she thinks about taking charge. Unfortunately, a lot of times in toxic relationships, people take charge when it's, I would say, little too late, when their emotional self and their mental health has been compromised. That's when they realize, I can't take this anymore. And that's when I come across a lot of my clients when they call me and they want an appointment and they see a coach after this scenario. Now, so basically, this relationship or this couple is called codependent and narcissist. Have you ever heard of the word codependent and narcissism? That's a classic example of toxic couple. Codependence, where the girl has a very low sense of confidence or self-esteem, tendency to blame herself for everything, and not feeling extremely confident in her skin, and apologizing for every possible wrong things happening around her. On the other hand, a guy who always stays away from taking any responsibility towards the relationship and plays happy, plays safe, that she's the one who will do all the dirty work. Sorry, Supriya, you want to say something? Okay. So that's when, this relationship becomes extremely like a gunjal, like, toxic, when they want to be away from each other, but they want to be together. They want to be together, but they want to be away from each other. Possible reasons for people to stay in toxic relationship. Now, this is something I want to ask you. Why do you think people stay in toxic relationship? Something is toxic, you can walk out of it.
It's because of the society. Log kya kahenge?
Log kya kahenge? Okay. What else?
Being
Shikha wants to
emotional,
say
you
something.
don't want to come.
Maybe because of children, if there are children.
Yes, of course. This is one of the strongest reasons women don't walk out, because of the financial issues, or because of children, because of responsibilities. That's one of the strongest areas which holds them back. And if I talk about one of the strongest reasons they actually don't move out is because of lack of emotional confidence, because they actually believe that they don't deserve any better. And you see, if in a lot of places across the globe, I would not say only in India, but a lot of places that I know of, women have been born and brought up in a way that, you have gained so much of weight. Why don't you lose some weight? It's a time for marriage. Your complexion is so dusky. Why don't you use Fair and Lovely? So all those stereotypes and beauty standards have been defined for women. And if they don't go to that beauty standard, then there is a low self-esteem and low confidence starts stepping in. And unfortunately, all of that emotional confidence which gets low is because of the family members and friend circle around them. It's not because of outside factors. Another reason which I would mention is childhood conditioning, where, you have to settle down for less. Like, marriage is a compromise, marriage is an adjustment. Do you remember any better statement?
Yeah, a degree.
Marriage is what?
A degree.
A degree. A degree. Well, I have heard this while I was growing up. My mom used to say, marriage is a compromise. We have done this. You also have to do this. And I used to tell her, Mom, why can't you use words like marriage is a blessing, marriage is love, marriage is beautiful? She was like, because that's the way it is. And we all somewhere have born and brought up believing that marriage is a limited institute. And the moment you enter into it, you have to make a lot of compromises and your freedom is gone. Unfortunately, the childhood conditioning about marriage, at least I can say for India right now, needs to grow and get better. And I hope for the rest of the world as well. Yeah, of course, log kya kahenge, Indian relatives and our society. And of course, across the globe also, we fear what people are going to say, that their relationship did not work and she failed in the relationship and he failed. And most of our women, if they're divorcee, then there is another level of grilling they go through. I have known a lot of people who go through another level of grilling. And you would find actually the woman, the moment she gets divorced, she finds somehow better job outside her city. I don't know. Just a coincidence, maybe. All right. Now, what is the impact of toxic relationship? People who stay in it and who choose to stay in it, what is the worst thing? You would know common things, what happens. What is it that you can think of, something which you have observed, or something you
Sometimes
might have experienced? Sorry?
An emotional breakdown.
Sacrifice their dignity.
Emotional breakdown, yes. Something else someone said?
Dignity. They lose their dignity also. They suffer. They compensate for that. I mean, it's too hard for them to stay without giving something out.
Absolutely, they lose on the dignity, they lose on their self-worth, they lose on their self-respect. So much, gets dissolved when they choose to stay in that. Now, if I talk about these are the two movies, by the way, I was talking about. In Beta, what this woman does, Aruna Irani, I was talking about gaslighting abuse. So what she does is she makes sure that the entire society knows that her husband is not mentally stable because she wanted to get his money, and that's how she has, encouraged her son to believe the father is not mentally healthy. So she was a classy example. That time I did not realize what she was doing because it was in 90s. We just used to enjoy the songs of this movie. But this movie was a classic example of gaslighting abuse. And Drishyam, if you have seen this movie Drishyam, this movie also talks about that how Ajay Devgan, the actor of this movie, plays with Tabu's mind, who is the inspector. And Ajay Devgan's daughter has by mistake killed Tabu's son, and that's when she starts interrogating, and he kinds of creates an environment and plays with Tabu's mind. So playing with somebody's mind is a kind of gaslighting abuse, which a lot of people do in relationships, but it's just not aware of, the this word is not very much aware. Now, another thing, which happens is PTSD, which we say post-traumatic stress disorder, which is generally, come across a situation where you said something to someone and she has blown out of proportion, and she was like, "Yeah, I didn't say anything. I don't know what's wrong with her. What happened to her? She's neurotic." Have you have come across this situation? So whenever we come across like exaggerated reactions where people kind of react without anything to back them up, like this is not a reason to react, but they do that, there is something going on inside them which we don't know, because we only see the face value of their neurotic behavior but not the internal story of what they have experienced.
Sometimes they
Another
blow the
thing.
steam on us. They
Sorry?
blow the steam on they blow the steam on us sometimes because they know our reaction won't be as the reaction in front of her husband or somebody else. So they erupt to this extreme.
True. Well, they do, blow out of proportion and they take a lot of things on us. Honestly, at that point in time, they don't know any better how to behave, because when any pain steps in, that's how they know is to react. Like if somebody is pinching you on your hand, you just say, "Ouch." So that's how they know. They don't know any better. They're not trained to behave and work any better, because that's how they come in the space of seeking a therapist. Now, here also, a person gets into a lot of self-blame if they have experienced, toxic space. That if you say something, let's say this, if somebody has done a mistake, have written a wrong mail or something, they're like, "Oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh, is everything fine?" So their mind starts expecting a kind of negative results. Whenever you start something, let's say this presentation, or let's say, you have an organization, you're running an organization, you're approaching clients, the only one of the strongest reasons you get success is because you expect a positive outcome. Now, in this scenario, the mind becomes so unhealthy that they're not able to expect a positive outcome at the end of the day. So what they do is, before they, approach any person, they believe, oh, it's not going to work out in their favor. So that kind of starts working against them. This is the area which gets impacted a lot, which is confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. When people kind of are breaking up in toxic relationships, that's what is their mental space once they're deciding to get out of it and they have no other option. And that's where I step in and I build women in terms of their self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. Any questions now? Let me just. Is there anybody who would like to ask anything?
Forum is open now for question and answer round. Whosoever wants to ask any sort of question, please raise your hand. Yes, we have my brother from Canada, Mr. Von Eric Hendorf. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Really, really good presentation about relationship. You mentioned about the fear of abandonment. Do you consider it more of illness? I did not really catch about that, but I want to really make it sure that fear of abandonment is a mental illness, probably, because I have a friend who is into a toxic relationship and she's having this fear of leaving the relationship. And I would like to make it sure it's a mental illness, probably, or thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for asking this question. And yes, so can I have your name, please?
My name is Von Eric.
Vaughn.
Just
All
call
right,
me
Vaughn.
Von. Thank you.
Sure. So Vaughn, when you talk about fear of abandonment, let me tell you how this fear steps in specific people. Let's say, you know, while a girl is growing up, because fear of abandonment, when I talk about codependency is a mental illness and it's a massive fear. Let's say they lost someone. It could be father, it could be mother. They must have experienced any kind of trauma where they lost somebody in childhood, because while they're growing up at the age of 14, our personality is developed. Till that time, you know, whatever we experience, if it is massively negative, it gets stored in our mind in the form of trauma, and it kind of keeps on replaying. Now, after a very intimate relationship in terms of mother and father, that's the strongest, closest relationship, if they have experienced any kind of rejection, if they have experienced, let's say, if I don't know, and of course you must have not watched, there is a movie, a very famous movie here, Dear Zindagi, in which what happens, the protagonist of the movie was Alia Bhatt, who is a very famous actress. What happens is that there it was shown fear of abandonment, where her mother and father left her because for a better job, for better prospects to her granny. And when she was growing and when she actually became an adult, she was consistently changing guys and boyfriends, because there was a fear, before he leaves me, let me leave him. So it is a kind of, you know, mental fear or trauma which is stored, that I do not deserve to be loved and the person will walk away from me. So it's a fear of not being loved. I hope I could help you in that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have Miss Nana from Georgia. Gamar Joma, Miss Nana.
Okay, Gamar Joba, good evening from Georgia. I would like to ask you one question about this. Now, you know, you had so great presentation, I can say so that, but you will come out maybe just from the Asian countries, maybe, yes, or you talk about throughout the world. Because I know that in Europe and especially West of this universe, we have so different situation. Yes, they are, for example, more free to end their relationship when they have such a toxic relationship. Yes, do you agree with me with this? And other thing, what I can, okay, I have maybe bad internet. You can't see, or you can't hear well. You can see me.
I actually couldn't hear. I think there is some noise at my place, some disturbance. Can somebody rephrase her question in just, you know, I think because I couldn't hear that question properly.
Okay.
Thank you, Nana, for the question for sure. And let me help you with that. I need someone to help me speak a little louder.
Nana, you can write your question in the Zoom chat, so that will be better.
Sure. I would appreciate that. So can you share your question?
Now, I've now changed the internet supply. Maybe now you can hear me, yes?
You can write down your question in the chat box and I will address it.
Okay, now I write.
Sure. In the meanwhile, is there anybody else who would like to ask the question? All
Want me
yours.
to ask? You want me to ask? Okay. Okay. You want me to ask one question, Monica?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So beautifully you have explained the whole 3-hour picture from the starting, from the climax, the romance and everything, and from the nagging and everything, because I myself come from a film industry. So according to me, normally the relationships are actually based on reality. If you see what we see in the society, the movies are actually based on that, so that the public is made alerted to be aware of the consequences and to take the capsules in such a way to be motivated by the films if in case something is happening in your life like this. So
True that, actually. Yeah.
so the way you have actually demonstrated each and every aspect of the relationship, because according to me, in my 27 years of marriage, many people have tried to instigate me and my husband's mind that even though we want to continue the journey for the next 100 years, there are people who don't want you to continue the journey.
I completely get that, Sonal. I think I'm glad you're sharing your experience, and that's very true that a lot of people try and do that. But I'm glad that you both have, managed to happily stay together, and I really wish that for you more and more. And so, yes, I think our society is a reflection of Hindi movies, and movies are a reflection of society, and vice versa. So, yeah, there you go. You're absolutely bang on right.
That shows your language of emotion of love, the way you have reciprocated love, because I'm myself a motivator of nurturing relationships.
I think everyone should do that. And it's just that, I talk about in our society, actually, women are conditioned to take more responsibility, nurture the relationship more, and men are more towards, taking a back seat and let the woman do the dirty job. So I think if men are also made to teach, during their growing years, the sensitivities of women and what, happens after marriage. So that I think adds on a lot and make the relationship more beautiful. So I think, anything else, Sonal, you would like to ask?
No, that's okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to have your question. I think Nana has written the question. What about the difference between the people's relationship in Asia and in Europe? That if in Europe and in the West, they find that their relationship is toxic, they end this. But in East, it is very seldom in our country as well. Okay. Okay, so Nana, when you talk about the different backgrounds of the countries, a lot more depends on the way women are brought up. Like if and also in India also, if I leave that the different countries that you're talking about, within the space of India, within Delhi, within particular cities, there might be two families that are staying next to each other, and the one family teaches women not to settle down for less while she's growing up, and another family teaches women to make compromises, and marriage is a sacrifice, and you have to make sure it works out within the I'm talking about the neighbors. So it is quite a possibility that if you're talking about that in the West, they find that the relationship is toxic, they end this, which is a healthy thing to do. However, I believe that a lot of places it doesn't work out that way. It really depends on the way girl and the guy has been brought up. So if they are brought up and learn to maintain their self-respect, they are quick to end that toxic relationship the moment they find it's not good and healthy for them. But if they're not brought up in a way, that's when they keep on, prolonging it and making sure that it keeps on working out. How do you think, is this because of they are more free in their actions? True that, absolutely. When there is a free culture where divorce is not a taboo, where people are open to express themselves, they're open to accept if they're going through any hurt and take, responsibility for that. That's when, people are quick to take those responsibilities to end this up. So of course it matters when they're free in their actions, they're quick to take that decision in the right way. Thank you so much, Nana. It was a wonderful question too. I really appreciate that.
Can I ask you a question? Irena here?
Yes. Is there anyone else who would like to question?
Yes, yes. I'm going to ask a question. Monica, thank you for your presentation. It was great. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us shortly what are some ways that a woman can boost the self-confidence in a relationship?
Well, yeah, you can take my
Shortly.
sessions for that. Okay, so when you talk about how a woman can boost her self-confidence, I think the first thing is the self-realization that I am not meant to settle down for this. I am much more than that. So the first feeling has to come from within. Even going to a therapist, taking sessions, coaches comes the secondary thing. The first feeling has to come within her that I'm not meant for this. I'm much more than that. And I deserve to be treated in the right way. The moment she has a self-awareness, that's when, there is no, there should be any shame in taking help from outer coaches and outside individuals in order to boost the confidence. But I think the first thing in order to boost the confidence is giving yourself a kind of affirmation that I deserve to be treated in the right way, and then taking action basis that. So I think that's one step, the first step she needs to take to boost her confidence. I hope I could help you with the question.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you
was
so
very
much.
clear.
Anybody else would like to question?
No, I would like to say that even post her confidence has to be supported by someone. If the family or the neighbors or the relatives are all against her or they are not encouraging her, she will feel down. Or so I think if somebody boosts her, she might increase her self-esteem and self-confidence.
Okay, so let me help you. I think who has asked this question? Munthar. Oh. Can you help me with your name, please? And I would really appreciate if you can write on the question in the chat box, but here there was some breakage. I couldn't hear. I could only hear the partial thing that where the relatives and everybody around her is suppressing her and asking her to stay in the relationship. And she, has to take the step to build her self-esteem. Is this a question? I would like to get the question.
I said that if the family and relatives, they are not supporting her, her self-esteem will be down. But if she finds someone to support her and uplift her, she can decide and she can raise her confidence more. So it's the problem with the family and the relatives who are around her.
I completely agree with you. A lot of times it happens, but I will also give you an insight of this exact situation. A lot of times you will see women who are in this situation. Unfortunately, they don't find that shoulder to cry on. And it is their journey of self-empowerment where they have to step up and put their foot down that it's not going to happen any longer. So I think, it's a great thing if somebody can be with her and support her in that space. But what I have observed in with my clients also, with my neighbors and my society also, it's generally the journey of a woman who is meant to stand up for herself. And let me tell you, if your biggest life journey, life lesson is to stand up for yourself, you will always have people who are suppressing you. Yes, I hope I could answer your question. If you have anything else, please go on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, could I ask something?
Sure.
So I just wanted to say that I personally feel that, yeah, it's a great thing that we are discussing right now, that initially it was not like that. Like the relationships which our parents used to carry, that was so, a pious relationship, an example kind of a relationship which we actually look forward to. But right now it's not possible. The ideology is basically very simple. The female used to be the housewife and she used to say yes, yes to each and everything, because only the person who earns money has the right to take the decision. But now the situation is pretty alarming because it's the girl also who's working out. And so similarly, like the men, even the girls have to get that same thing. Like, no, she's working at home also, she has a work. So somewhere down the line, the support has to be from both the ends, and both the partners together have to work on it. That's very important, I feel. And somewhere down the line it messes up, and that's the reason that the girls are left behind and they miss out with the and the people, at least the one who are housewives, they have lost their confidence with the course of 5 years, 10 years. Now to get that back, nobody is scared. Nobody cares to get that confidence back to her.
I'm glad, Shikha, you asked this question. And actually, this question has two parts of it. So I'll address it one by one. So first of all, when you say that, earlier there were only men earning, now women are only also earning it. The good part is that women who are earning and they have realized their self-worth and they have a empowerment tool to walk out of it. So now the point is that they are not settling down for less. But what is the bad thing in the same scenario is happening is men are not taught to compromise more or adjust more. Men are the same. It is the women who are grown in that space. I really hope I am not saying something which is sounding harsh and rude to men. But unfortunately, that's Indian society which needs to grow and educate men in terms of making similar kind of adjustment. And also it goes to the social conditioning. When we are growing up, you have to go to a different family. You can't really laugh too much. You can't really show anger. You can't really do that much. So parents and mothers, and they kind of give that conditioning to women that you have to go to a different family and you have to make a lot of adjustments. So for the woman, it's a surname which is changed, which her identity which is changed, her house which is changed. A lot of times her workspace is changed. For the man, it's only the bedroom which is changed. So a man has to, men in our society they have to taught more towards taking responsibility and making compromises and take equal part of the relationship. Now the second thing, which you talked about is that housewives have lost their confidence. And of course, unfortunately, there is a lot of scenarios which I have also observed and come across where housewives, because they don't have a financial tool, they don't have a financial independence, so they are kind of keeping stuck in that situation. And there is no awareness also that they are not experiencing their best version by staying in that situation. And unfortunately, a lot of times when the situation becomes so bad, you'll see in lockdown, so many divorces have happened because earlier people were posting their pictures in Facebook, they were talking to their friends. So the main problem was getting ignored. But now in lockdown, they could not even ignore what was going because it was all on their faces. And that's the reason divorces happened. So yeah, housewives have lost their confidence because of the scenario. And I really hope they get to the awakening sooner or later, sooner, that they need to do something about the situation. I hope I could help you.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I hope now we are up with the time, so I hope every question is being sorted. And yes, of course, we need to understand at the end. I would like to say that we need to understand that our mental health is important, and sometimes people think that talking about mental health is not a good thing. But it's just like our other body parts have certain kind of pain, and we just go to the doctor. Going to the mental experts are also same, and it's as usual as it, because people do not take it as but during the corona time we have realized that even mental health is something which is very important for a person to stay in a healthy relationship. And it's not only about the partners, it can be a toxic friend, it can be a toxic boss, it can be a toxic colleague, it can be anything. All we need is to know how to tackle with such kind of people, and we need to find out ways to handle them. That's the main thing. But to deal with it is not because it is going to harm our toxic health. So moving ahead, I would like to hand over the mic to Supriya ma'am, so that she can do the facilitation.
Shikha, I think I would like to just give the biggest takeaway out of this session, and
Yeah.
I hope I'm not disturbing the session. So I think the biggest takeaway actually I wanted to talk about by when I end the session is that people need to realize that marriage is not the end of the road. If you're getting married little late, if not 30, 35 is good, but you need to be healthy emotionally and mentally before you get married. If a girl is experiencing a fear of abandonment, she needs to take charge. She needs to start feeling emotionally healthy again. And if the guy has a fear of suffocation and running away from responsibilities, then he needs to learn to start taking emotional responsibility before he gets into a space called marriage and make anything toxic. So I think the responsibility lies on both the people, and there should not be any shame in addressing any fear that they're going through. Thank you.
Wonderful. Exactly. And however, the society needs to learn that live and let live. That's very important. So I would like to call Supriya ma'am next. to just, go through the facilitation.
I can
of-
see Dr. Shanti raised hand. She would like to ask question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Monica ma'am, your many examples you've given in Hindi movie. So my favorite movie I want to share Mary Kom.
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
Wonderful movie with lovable husband and motivate children is wonderful movie. Myself, I inspiration that movie. So I'm sharing my my lovable movie, that one wonderful.
I love that movie too, and I think that guy is every girl's dream guy to have. And yes, it is.
Is a wonderful movie. Anytime I'm watching like that in Netflix, like that, all-time favorite my movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
many-
completely agree with you, doctor.
Many husbands are in this India as well as overall world in men and women. If positive people all over world is here.
I absolutely agree with you. And I actually have come across a lot of couples, men who are very responsible and who are supporting their wives, taking a back seat. So we do see those fine examples. And Mary Kom is one of the finest examples of such men. And I so hope and pray that we get to see more and more men. We get to date those kind of men. So I think that's a fantastic example of.
I am watching movie with my husband and son.
That's really wonderful.
My motivator, my teacher, as well as my friend is my husband. So proud of him, I want to say.
I'm so happy for you, Dr. Shanti. I'm so happy for you. I really wish that, everybody comes across husband like yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Supriya ma'am.
Well, so love is in
And,
the air. Yeah. Mr. Gaurav.
Supriya ji, before that, I just need to share one thing. I'm going to share the Google form link in the chat box. Kindly fill the Google form link. Guest of honor and speaker, moderator do not need to fill any form. All the participants, I request everyone to fill the Google form link. Thank you so much.
Well, I will ask only one thing. So, love is in the air, or pain is in the love, or love is in the pain? Thank you, Monica. Miss Monica, I am really flat on you. The brilliant hot topic, this topic is a favorite among all the generations, and even the old, young, teenager, everybody is loving this topic. And seriously, you have given a very brilliant message that we women, we are emotional, and in that emotion we become emotional fool, and we become possessive about our men, our boyfriend, or love. This possessiveness is right according to us. This is our perception. But what is a men perception? Suffocation, Khutan. I want to move out of this toxic relationship. And very beautifully, very brilliantly, love what is toxic relationship and how to overcome out of this. So thank you, Miss Monica. I'm really, really overwhelmed. And not only me, my audience is loving it. If you scroll down the chat box, and really tips and tricks you have given, that is marvelous. And it is correctly said. Women are from Venus, and men are from, Mars. So we have to understand their mentality, their perception. They are totally different element, now I can say. And according to me, what is love and what is a successful relationship? If you love your husband, your love, and if that self-love is there, unconditional love is there, even you are ready to cook for him, you're ready to iron his shirt, you are ready to polish his shoes, because that ego is not there. You are loving, you're selflessly doing. And for a man, when she can iron my shirt, she can take care of my kids, she can take care of my house. It's my duty to respect her dream, and make her feel comfortable. So that is a man duty. So Thank you so much for this lovely, brilliant session. And we all are overwhelmed. And now we are going to say no toxic relationship. Only love in the air. After the show, we go to our house. So thank you so much. And let me share it, my screen.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful, wonderful, beautiful comments. Thank you. It's so lovely.
This
I
is
loved it.
for Miss Monica. Please give her a big round of applause.
Thank you.
All of
Thank
you, please. You can hear my clapping.
I think
Thank
the
you,
brilliant,
Monica.
but you all have to agree for the brilliant translation she has done on the spot, extempore, no preparation. I was completely flattered. I wasn't expecting that you would do it just like that. It was just amazing.
Oh, it's a roller coaster ride for me too. Okay, rapid the fire round.
Thank you so
And
much.
this is for our lovely, lovely Shikha Chakravarti, and she is here. Please give her a big round of applause. Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you
Shikha.
so much.
Please give her a big round of applause for beautifully moderated the session and making us enlightenment with a time managed system and also her pretty smile. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your love, for your kind attention, for listening. And now I hand over to Shikha for the final closing.
So it was a great session altogether. And yes, these topics also needs to be sensitized time and again, because we need to understand our importance. And yes, love is a beautiful relationship. It has to be done in a beautiful way. And, doing it together, supporting each other. I have seen examples, where you really feel great about being in love. So especially we talk about our parents when we see them, and so many couples who can just live for years and years together, and the love is always growing and increasing. This is what, and yes, we also are looking forward for such people. Things are deteriorating nowadays, but yes, everywhere there is a negative aspect, there is a positive aspect too. So looking forward with the same topic, I would like to bind up and thank you all for supporting so much. And on behalf of the entire Positive Thoughts family, I would like to thank you everyone for being there and for your wonderful comments and raising the questions and being connected with the topic. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.